The last race of the 2014 season then for Formula KGP. Litchfield and Flynn on the front row of the grid from Bobby Game and Jack New, with Davies, Baber, Dew and Harmon. No championships up for grabs because that's already been decided. So it's game on and open house into the first corner, and Bobby Game has slotted in behind his arch nemesis right away. It's a race between these two then, straight off the front.
Bobby Game has finished as vice champion in this class the last 2 seasons. He's going to finish vice champion this season as well, as he comes up the inside of Mark Litchfield for the lead spot. 61 there, Jack New. Daniel Baybutt, the winner of the greatest kart race ever, Jake.
Yes, indeed. And Litchfield having another look at Bobby Game to try and make his way into the right-hand hairpin. But Bobby Game is wise to that manoeuvre. He knows Mark Litchfield's tricks of old, and they've not really got anything new on the first couple of laps to show each other. It's just stalemate, I suppose is the best way to describe it at the moment. Matt Davies there in third position, showing a clean pair of heels to Jamie Flynn, who is in the RFM kart, still pushing on at the front of the field. Bobby Game trying to push his weight around at the front of the field, and Litchfield trying to close up on him. And Litchfield knows this place better than anybody on this grid, really. Up the inside, and that's a perfect indication of it. He found space on the inside line. He knew where Bobby Game might be vulnerable. He went straight for the gap and took it with ease.
Here comes Game though, looking down the inside, is he? No, he's choking the engine, so he's not going to make the move yet. He's under pressure now from Davis there in third, Flynn the 27 in fourth. Here comes Davis for second place. Matt Davis down the inside, former junior TKM champion last season, in fact, racing in the seniors for the first time. But Bobby Game grabs it back and through this right-hander down to what corner, Jake? Bobby Game corner, this right-hander.
Absolutely, and Game knew that that was going to be a one-shot manoeuvre where he'd be able to get the place back on Matt Davies. He could see that an opportunity would creep back on the next left-hander out of the hairpin if he just allowed him to get through and got a better drive out of the hairpin. And that's exactly how Bobby Game works his craft. He is so good at seeing an opportunity and then taking it back again. Baybutt there in sixth position, just up behind Flynn, who's lost another place. So Flynn is now down to fifth position, and Daniel Baybutt, the man who won the greatest ever kart race, as we describe it, the TKM Festival for TKM Elite, wasn't it?
Yeah, Junior Elite final. Brilliant race. Absolutely unbelievable. There is the information on Bobby Game, man from Bicester. He is, of course, let's not forget, the current KGP World Champion. He may have been Vice Champion in this the last, now 3 years, but he won the world title at the end of last year. He's about to defend that title as well. Those world finals coming up very shortly.
Matt Davies, Super 1 Junior TKM Champion of 2013, in third position in this race, hanging on from Jack New in the 61 in fourth position. Looks to me as though Baybutt has dropped back a little bit now from Jamie Flynn. And if he's down in sixth position, he's in danger of being passed first by Aaron Dew, then by Sam Harmon. So both of those guys are still very much in contention for the top six. There's only 8 karts in this race. The championship is over, of course, so some drivers are sitting out. But there is Mark Litchfield out in front, 8 times the British champion. And it just doesn't seem like he's slowing down anytime soon. The rest of this field is going to have to find something extra special for 2015.
Yeah, still racing, of course, next year, Mark. Not sure what he's going to be racing in yet. I think the X30 classes may be guest classes throughout Super 1 next year, not running as a championship as such, but opportunities for drivers racing in the X30 junior and senior classes to race in Super 1 next season.
I'll tell you what Litchfield will be racing in next year, a kart. He absolutely loves his karting. He won't go and race anything else. For Mark Litchfield, karting is the pinnacle. It doesn't get more exciting, more technically demanding, more exuberant in terms of what you can achieve in a kart is better than anything else, especially when you've got such a level playing field. He loves this sport, and I don't see him racing anything else. He absolutely adores this.
Yeah, he's certainly not going to be off racing cars, that's for sure, as they come down towards the hairpin. Litchfield's pulling a little bit of a gap over Bobby, although Bobby's chasing him down. Matt Davies on the 28, 61 is Jack New. Back down to the second hairpin. I'm going to point out something now as Mark Litchfield, for those not raced at PF before or may race here on a regular basis, I'm going to point out Mark Litchfield's favourite overtaking spot and explain why. It's coming up now. through the complex. It's this left-hander now. That is his favourite overtaking spot on the circuit, and the reason it is, when he gets somebody up the inside there, as opposed to getting them down the straight and allowing them to come back at you, if you can get them in that left-hander, it slows their momentum and they don't get the chance to come back at you at the end of the straight. And that's why, I mean, he's a master at this circuit, and that's why that corner is his favourite overtaking corner on this circuit. And I know that, Jake, because I was standing with Paul Fletcher earlier in the day and he pointed it out to me, so I've just told the whole world.
Fantastic. Well, there's a secret given, and that is the sign, isn't it, and the mentality of a true British champion. He knows exactly how to get his A game on, where to make the opportunities work for him, and that is the sign of a legend in karting. Up the inside, that looks like a good move for Jack New to move up into third place past Davies. Finally, he gets himself into the top three, and a very choice overtaking move that was as well. Not easy to get there on the inside of that complex, especially if you haven't quite been able to make the move into the first couple of hairpins before that section. But he's made it stick and up into third place on true merit there. Very nice driving from Jack New. It's easy to forget the drivers like this in KGP behind those two legends of Litchfield and Game, but great work from Jack New to put himself ahead of Davies, who, let's not forget, Matt Davies is no slouch either. He is an incredibly successful driver himself, but deeper into the race, just look at this, absolutely commanding performance. This is Litchfield versus Game, the two geniuses of their craft. You could very easily call them the Senna and Prost of karting at British level. To the inside goes Davies on Jack New, but Litchfield, I was just going to say, he's got a massive gap, even over his rival Bobby Game. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, it's a little bit of a tangle. This Flynn tries to make the move on New, and New has obviously used that momentum to try and take on Davies. I think he went round the outside of the left-hander.
Just coming down out through this complex for the penultimate time. He'll get the last lap board. Will mark as he comes through the line this time.
Just look at the advantage he's got over Bobby Game. These two are meant to be the kings of this class, and even Litchfield has got a country mile on Bobby Game. It's absolutely incredible. And here we go for third position as Davies and New are having an absolutely stonking battle for third position. Litchfield, look, he's even going faster and faster on the penultimate lap, 56.65 for the fastest lap. Incredible.
Should point out as well that we haven't got KZ1 gearbox classes racing at PF International this weekend. A little bit contentious, not least with me, because I think we should have them here, but I can't convince Paul Fletcher at the moment to allow them. I know he's going to relent eventually.
Oh,
and here's a battle for second or third place.
Moves around the outside here as New tries to take on Davies, and that's allowed Flynn to get through into fourth position. They better be careful because Daniel Baybut's closing them in as well on this last lap. But this is the man who has absolutely walked away, marched to the victory. Earlier on in the X30, he was invincible, and he was even better in this race in the KGPs. A country mile ahead of him, and Bobby Game at the finish. Absolutely magnificent. Third position is going to be Matt Davies, just hanging on in front of Flynn, New and Baybut. What a way to end KGP.
I got into third, went past Jack New going into the second hairpin. I then held on to the rest of the race, and I think them two, Jamie Flynn and Jack New, had a battle behind, and that allowed me a slight gap just to not defend the last lap, which I'm very pleased of. Third in the championship this year, which was my aim for the year, so very pleased with that. Just like to say a big thanks to my mum, my dad, and all my supporters.
Second overall in the championship. At one point, you were quite close to Mark, so you kind of faded away. What was going wrong?
I think we were kind of okay on a lap time, but in different parts of the track. So it was difficult to keep up because if you're losing out of the corners, you try and make it up in other places. So we managed to do a few laps to catch up a little bit, but then to do it for the whole race, is, Mark's quick round here, so it would be difficult to beat anyway, to be honest.
Any plans for next year? What's going forward?
We don't know what's happening next year. We're just sort of like finishing this year. We've got the World Championships in a few weeks. So try and defend my title over there. So,
congratulations, Mark. Championship once again is one last round, but you've turned up, you've stuck it on pole, and you've just went for it.
Yeah. I needed to be here to obviously Paul's track, so we needed to be here and racing, and also you can't not do 6 races. So it was a good weekend.
8 British championships. No one else can say that but Mark Litchfield. Bobby Game the runner-up once again. Matt Davies in third ahead of Jamie Flynn, Daniel Baybat and Jack New. What an amazing way to round off the Super 1 MSA series, and a big congratulations to our 5 title winners, Teddy Wilson, Aaron Mills, Joe Forsdyke, Mark Litchfield and Henry Easthope. We'll be returning to PF International in a fortnight for the Super 1 Rotax Championship finale, with 3 of the 4 titles still up for grabs.